Hey, it's Mo. I am super glad to be here. I took a couple of weeks of a hiatus, I'd say, just because frankly, I was really busy with work and I needed to kind of get things together. I've been really kind of busy and frankly kind of stressed out. So I just thought, okay, I need to take a little bit of a break. But I am so happy to be back, as it were. And I'm laughing at myself because, I review makeup and like lip balms and all that stuff. And I was just gonna start the video and I realized I didn't have any lip balm on and I can't find the one I want. So I grabbed this little teeny thing from my dentist's office. Is that funny? I find that funny. Like, how sad is that? Because I've probably got like 10 lip balms around. Anyway, that is me. Everything I try to do here is as close to reality as possible. I only use natural lighting. If you've seen me before, you know that. And the reason for that is that you can see very accurately, or as accurately as you can through a lens, what my skin really looks like, what I really look like, and particularly this one because we're going to be talking about the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer from Colourpop. And I want you to see what I look like before. So I'm going to give you kind of a close-up here, just so you can see my real skin. Clearly I have like freckles or, hyperpigmentation, whatever you want to call it. There are lines on my face. There is no perfection here. I don't use any filters. Obviously I don't use any artificial lighting. So this is what we're starting with. And then I have redness around my nose, and on top of that, my nose always seems to be runny. So it's like as soon as I get makeup on, it runs more, and then I'm always feel like I'm wiping my makeup away. But anyway, let's get to the topic at hand, which is from Colourpop. And I like Colourpop color products, we'll say. I like their eyeshadows very much. I have a couple of their blushes. I don't have great experience with their powder blushes. I like their Super Shock shadows, that kind of stuff. Anyway, and I should also mention that I don't accept PR, I don't do sponsorships, so anything you see on my channel, I have purchased. And today, this is my first complexion product from Colourpop, and it is the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer, as I said, and this is just the packaging, which I admit, there's nothing super fancy about this packaging, but I like it. I don't know, something appealing about this kind of pale peach color. We're also going to try out the Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer. And I picked up, so I ordered both of these from the Colourpop website, and then after I'd used them a few times, I kind of regretted not at least having the primer to try. And now these are available at Ulta online, and they actually had a few in my Ulta store. So I stopped at Ulta and picked up the HA, as they call it, primer. So those are the three things I've got today. None of this is a first impression. I've been using these for a couple of weeks. This I've only used a few times. I got this last week, but the other ones I've used several times, so I have really clear opinions on what I think about it, how I like to apply it, that kind of stuff. So I'm coming to you today just with skincare on. A lot of people say skincare and sunscreen. I don't make that clarification because I feel like sunscreen is an enormous part of skincare, so I consider it part of my skincare. But in case you're curious, I thought maybe you'd want to know which sunscreen I use, and it's the Paula's Choice Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense Broad Spectrum SPF 30. I've used this for quite some time. I'm very happy with it. It does have a slight tint, so I have it on, but you can see it's not tinting anything, it's not covering anything. It essentially, at least on my skin tone, it essentially ends up being clear. The reason the tint is there is because zinc oxide is white, and to try to avoid that white cast that you get, that's why they tint it. So it doesn't really do anything cosmetically, but it kind of counteracts that white from the zinc oxide. So anyway, wanted to give you that background, and then let's just talk about the Pretty Fresh Hydrating HA Tinted Moisturizer. So the Colourpop says it's a hydrating tinted moisturizer with skin perfecting lightweight coverage for fresh, healthy looking skin. Not too long ago, I reviewed the CoverGirl Skin Milk, hoping that would be a nice little kind of throw it on quickly, look decent kind of, we'll say tinted moisturizer or foundation, whatever. I did not like it. You can watch my review if you want to. I'll link it. But spoiler alert, I did not care for that. So I bought this thinking maybe I'll like this one. And it was a little tricky, as it always is, to figure out what shade to get. Although with tinted moisturizers, it tends to be a bit more forgiving because they're more sheer. So it's not like you're buying a full coverage foundation and if the color is just slightly off, it's really going to be obvious. I ended up choosing the shade Light 5N, which has turned out to be a pretty good match for me. I don't have any regrets about the color that I chose. And this is the packaging. So it comes in a squeezy tube with a pump, which is just, that's an easy type of packaging, I would say. A lot of people like that. And we're just kind of going to go here. So when I use it, I pump about a pump and a half onto my hand, and I just put it on. I don't do anything magical, because the whole point of me trying to find what we're going to refer to as a tinted moisturizer, what I really want is something that's just going to be fast, feel good, stay on decently well, and not be too heavy. What I don't want from a tinted moisturizer is something that's so sheer that there's no point in putting it on. Like, I don't get that. I think a true tinted moisturizer really is just moisture with barely any tint that doesn't even out your skin tone or anything, and those don't do me any good. And on the other hand, I'm not looking for like an IT Cosmetics CC plus what they refer to, I think, as a tinted moisturizer, which really is just a foundation. It's a little heavier than what I'm looking for. I don't mind that product, but that's not what I'm looking for currently in my foundation, or to add to my foundation collection, we'll say. It's not really a collection, but you know what I mean. So that's what I do. I mean, I really just throw this on. So it's on. That's how much I put on. That's how I put it on. And you get the idea. So I'm going to move in a little bit. Now, is it covering up everything I have? Nope, it's sure not. How does it feel? Oh, I forgot the primer. Okay, well, sorry about that. Super job, super me. So the primer is nice and it smells nice. I'll show it to you. Looks like this. I'll show you the consistency too. And it smells nice, but frankly, I didn't think it did a lot. For me, it was like adding a little more moisturizer. There just wasn't much to it. I have no argument with it. It's kind of nice if you want a little extra moisture, but I didn't feel like I needed it. I didn't feel like it smoothed anything out. I don't know. It didn't seem to serve a huge purpose to me, but it smells good. Anyway, so apologies for that, but you get the gist. Anyway, as I was saying before I so rudely interrupted myself, is it covering up everything? No, it's certainly not. But it's evening things a little more. Evening them to the point that I feel like, okay, that actually did something. It's not too heavy. It's not doing nothing. And I do like the finish. The finish is nice. It's not overly glowy. It's not matte, clearly. It's a pretty natural finish, maybe with just the slightest hint of maybe dewiness. That might even be overstating it. It's a pretty natural finish, but it certainly feels nice. It feels hydrating. It feels good on. And so this is what I would do. And then I have the concealer. And I am not a big user of concealer. Probably, you can tell the most obvious place I use it is around my nose. It seems like very few foundations I use, unless they're really heavy coverage, cover up the redness around my nose. It's just part of who I am. I get that. So I thought I would try this concealer because it's supposed to be hydrating, but hydrating concealers often don't stay on very well. And as I said, like, my nose is just runny. I don't know what that is. So I'm wiping my nose a lot, and so I try to find a concealer that kind of stays on a little bit better. And I did get this in this shade Light 40N, in case you were curious about the color that I got. And I do this, I don't usually apply concealer directly to my face. I usually put it on the back of my hand. And you can kind of see it. Kind of see the consistency. It's not runny in any way. It's not thick though either. It's really, I think it's a nice consistency. And then I have this Bobbi Brown brush, and it's a very old brush. It's probably 15 years old. And I think it's like an eye smudge brush, but I use it for concealer. like around my nose and stuff, so I'll just pick it up on there. I have a little mirror right here, which is broken because I'm impressive. And let's just do this. So I put that on this side. So this side has the concealer, this side does not. I think that's a pretty significant difference. And it doesn't look heavy. It doesn't look like, oh, she just stuck concealer there. It really does a nice job. I'm happy about that. So I'll just whip that on. I might throw just a dash. Because my nose in general just maybe needs a touch more coverage. I like to have a bit more coverage on my nose. I try not to use the word need because that suggests that there's a proper way to do makeup or there's a proper way you're supposed to look, and I don't agree with that. It's all personal preference. And this I even will throw a little bit under my eye, and I rarely put concealer under my eye because I think it's dry. I mean, my under eyes are dry. I don't really want to add to it. But this little guy, I don't know. I just kind of like it. Seems to work for me. And again, I don't put on a lot, you know? I mean, you saw, this is all real time. You saw what I put on and in what method. So boom. That is, let me throw my hair back here for a sec. So that is just the tinted moisturizer and the concealer. Did it make a massive difference? Do I look like perfected and flawless and all those things? No, I don't, which is not what I'm going for. Generally, I would say I go for medium coverage, medium that leans lighter rather than heavier. This is lighter than most of the foundation I have, but I think it really evens out nicely. And it's a snap. I mean, for me, it's just a snap to put this stuff on. I just really put it on almost like a moisturizer. I put a little concealer around my nose, maybe a touch under my eyes, and that's it. And then I put on the rest of my makeup. So I think it's pretty evident. I really like this. I really like this. And after the CoverGirl thing that I tried, I was like, see, I've never really found a tinted moisturizer that I really liked because, as I said, they're either too sheer and pointless or they're not really a tinted moisturizer. There's a lot more to them. This, in my opinion, is a fantastic tinted moisturizer. And it's not outrageously expensive. And I didn't look up the price. I should have done that. I really like this. In fact, I like both things and I like them together, which I find rare that I'll like one product of a series, especially complexion product, but to like both of them and one of them being a concealer, I'm genuinely surprised. So I like this tinted moisturizer a lot. And I like, why did I put this back in the box? I like the concealer a lot also. I like them separately. I like them together, probably the best. But I have used this concealer with a few other foundations, and I really like it. I think these are both really, really good products. They work for me for what I'm looking for. And I don't want to put any other makeup on because the whole point of this is just to show you, okay, just the tinted moisturizer, just the concealer, that's it. I am very, very pleased with these. As I said, I've used those for about 2 weeks, and I feel like it lasts well. It feels good on my skin. I wish I had more of a critique of this, but I just don't. The shade range, from what I could determine from looking online, looked pretty broad. Of course, as with anyone, I only have one skin tone. I can only test it on, kind of me. So really, I give this very high marks. I really like it. And if you can find it in your Ulta store, that's nice because you could kind of swatch a shade or two or something like that. But big win for me with Colourpop's Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer and the Creamy Concealer. And as always, thank you so much for hanging out here. A lot of beauty YouTubers say that you're watching their content and it's free, and I disagree with that because your time is not free. Your time is worth a lot, and I take that pretty seriously. So I just wanted to mention that because I know you're here, and are you paying me for this video? No. Do I have advertisers? No. Do I have sponsorships? No. But you are spending your time with me, and I feel that's very worthwhile and very important. Just wanted to mention that. So thank you very much for being here. I absolutely love that you hang out and talk makeup with me because I adore this stuff. And hope you are having a good day, and I will talk to you soon.